This is Chris and Lamb of God. You're watching Rock and Metal News.
Hey, this is Ted from Death Angel, and you're watching Rock and Metal News.
Hey guys, this is Ron from YouTube's Rock and Metal News, and this is a day that we've been waiting for a long time. This is the day of the new Lulu album review, the collaboration between Metallica and Lou Reed. First off, let me say, this is not a Metallica album, period. This is basically backing music to poetry or spoken word. So this is not a Metallica album. Who is this album for? I mean, you know, the Lou Reed fans are going to probably think it's too heavy. The Metallica fans are just going to think, what did they do? So, you know, besides themselves, they made it for themselves. They're, you know, total respect for all these guys. And, you know, where I'm coming from to set the review up is, you know, I was a long-time Metallica fan. I saw Ride the Lightning Tour, luckily with Cliff Burton still in the band. You know, my favorite albums are Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, a lot of the early stuff. You know, and Death Magnetic was, you know, somewhat of a recovery for them. So I'm coming at this with, you know, open mind and a Metallica sort of point of view. Now, these guys are using their names for this one. I mean, after listening to this, if this ended up on a record executive's desk and these guys were unknown, they probably would have just swept it right off the desk. I mean, they're popular guys and established bands, and that's what they're using. Now, after listening to this, a full album, long songs, probably not needed at all. Maybe an EP, that's even pushing it, even if they did 5 songs. The thing is that I ask, you know, it's their choice, but did Metallica kind of waste their time doing this? But you guys make the call, Metallica makes the call. So I will be reviewing it kind of track by track, going over, some tracks are really lengthy. I'll just maybe do short comments on some of the songs. And okay, here it goes. The first song is called Brandenburg Gate. It opens up with some acoustic guitar, and then the poetry kicks in. It's quite a lengthy song. It's got the sort of off-key poetry, spoken word in it. It ends up that you know, the guitars in that kick in, and James kind of screams "Small Town Girl." You know, kind of off key on purpose for the rest of the song, and not too eventful. The second song is The View. Now, The View was released earlier as a single, so if anyone liked The View, it could be one of the best songs on the whole album. If you didn't like The View, you are guaranteed not to like anything else, probably. But check it out yourself. I mean, The View, it's the poetry. You know, it's just basically backing music over spoken word and poetry. Simple chords, simple drum beat, a little bit of guitar licks at the end. Next song is Pumping Blood. They released that one kind of as a second single, kind of a long song. It opens up with some violin at the beginning, then it kicks in with some of the Metallica kind of crunch. Slows down around the 2-minute mark. Lou Reed just quotes some poetry. They've got some backing guitar in it, and really kind of funny random drum fills in it. I mean, the random drum fills were done on purpose, but you know, it just seemed just really kind of mixed up. There's a lot of different things going on, a lot of off timing, which they were trying to do. I hadn't heard Lars try that many drum fills for a long time. It kind of gets faster at the ending, screaming random playing at the end, kind of drum rolls, just kind of all over the place. It was actually kind of a hard track to really get through to listen to. The next song was called Mistress Dread. Opens with some keys, fast drum beat, fast guitar, but very slow spoken poetry over top of it. So it's really, you know, the music's going fast, he's talking slow, kind of clashes. I mean, I guess done again intentionally, but I don't know if it had that kind of effect that they wanted. Someone's like, sounds kind of sometimes in the song like someone's dying and it's really off key. It was actually another hard song to kind of get through. Iced Honey, straight ahead off-key song, basically. James sings in the background, and you got your sort of chugging Metallica and off-key kind of poetry singing, spoken word. The next one is called Cheat on Me. Opens with some violin, guitar feedback, sort of subtle guitar at the beginning. Kind of starts off very simple, drum-driven. James again's got some on-purpose off-key backing vocals on there. Kind of picks up on the end, but kind of a hard song kind of to listen to get through on that one. Then the next song, Frustration, actually starts off quite good. It's kind of got a good sort of Metallica riff in it. If Metallica people want to check this album out, maybe start with Frustration and listen to about the first minute and a half. You'll like that. Then turn it off. It's got a kind of Metallica type sound. Then it slows down and Lou Reed starts to rhyme, do some poetry and do some rhyming. Some random drum fills in the middle of the song. It's kind of an 8-minute song. You know, it doesn't really need to be that long, I don't think, but it's 8 minutes worth of frustration, that's for sure. You know, taking into account the half decent guitar riff in it, which is kind of cool. Kind of one couple minute highlight there. The next song is called Little Dog. Basically, it's poetry spoken word behind some acoustic guitar. It's 8 minutes long. Not too much change in that song for the 8 minutes. Just basically, you know, poetry backed by some acoustic guitar in that. The next song is called Dragon. Lots of poetry, guitar effects in it, some guitar feedback. So they got this kind of poetry going on, off-key poetry with some guitar feedback behind it. The drums kick in at about the 3-minute mark. It adds kind of a Metallica chunk to it, but doesn't really go too much. Just basically, you know, again, sort of simple kind of Metallica crunch behind some spoken word and poetry. Last song on the CD is called Junior Dad. It starts off with the Lou Reed humming and some keys. Drums and subtle guitar kick in. Kind of reminds me off of something from Pink Floyd's Final Cut. It's that kind of a style. Pink Floyd fans, please don't email us. I know I'm not comparing this to Pink Floyd at all, but it just has that kind of feel from the Final Cut in it. It almost has like a Dire Straits, really mellow Dire Straits kind of stuff. And Dire Straits fans, you don't have to email us either. Not comparing them to Dire Straits, but it's got that kind of feel to it. And the song is like 20 minutes long, but the last 10 minutes is like keys and accordion and violin. And it's got like cello, a whole bunch of kind of stuff going on. And I mean, maybe they could have done that for a minute or a couple minutes, but it goes on for 10 minutes. So whoever's, you know, brave enough to kind of listen to the full 10 minutes of that, go ahead. Actually, one of the most listenable tracks on the album is Junior Dad. You know, it's very mellow, but the poetry and the spoken word kind of is not as much off key. It's more of a mellow song. Everything, the music and the poetry kind of jive in that song. So, really interesting album. For myself, I'm going to find it hard to keep listening to. It's just, I don't know, it's just too much all over the place and so much off-key stuff and so much mixture of heaviness over just mellow spoken word. It just, I don't know if it works myself. But if, you know what, guys, you know, if you're Metallica fans or heavy fans out there and you're thinking about Lulu or possibly the new Megadeth out there, looks like I'm going to be leaning towards the new Megadeth, but give it a listen if you dare. This is Ron from YouTube's Rock and Metal News, and this has been the album review for Lulu. Thanks for tuning in. Hey guys, this is Ron from YouTube's Rock and Metal News with a CD review of the new Opeth album called Heritage.